The family is the bedrock and lifeline of any society. It is the single most important influence in a child's life. On Family World with Paula, together with credible experts.
There's a thin line between respect and fear. I don't want my children to be afraid of me.
So when you don't respect children, three things will happen. One, they will respect you.
We will be exploring and discussing the many different aspects and issues bordering on the family, ranging from conception, motherhood, fatherhood, parenting, relationships to marriage.
Many people are not really ready for marriage.
We will be celebrating men and women who have survived one family mishap or the other and have them tell their inspiring story. This is the show for everyone who came out from a family structure, already owns a family, or is hoping to start one someday. Join us in this enlightening, informative, entertaining and inspiring show as we take on interesting family topics, no holds barred. As soon as you get married, people start asking you about having children. The pressure of getting pregnant for many women is absolutely real.
Causes of infertility could be one or a combination of the following: health issues, emotional and environmental factors
in both women and men. The various issues that may lead to fertility struggles create an added pressure that is faced by both women
and men during this tense period. Today on the show, we'll be looking at fertility through the eyes of a woman
who could only conceive 6 years after tying the knot with her husband.
What was the cause of her inability to conceive? What did she have to deal with in terms of societal pressure?
And its impact on her health and emotional well-being. Welcome to Family World with Paula. My name is Paula Rumm. Lola Igbenmo is a graduate of Mass Communication and Theatre Arts, University of Jos. She also did some childcare courses at the National Extension College in Cambridge. She is the CEO of Develop Books, an e-book representative with Scholastic Inc. Her philosophy is living life to its fullest with eternity in view. Her unwavering faith in God keeps her going every day. Please join me to welcome Lola Igbenmo. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So it took you 6 years after you got married to have your child.
Yes. Was it deliberate?
Absolutely not deliberate, because I mean, this is Nigeria. I didn't get married that early, and so I wanted babies early. You know, my husband was the first child. He didn't get married early either. So we actually wanted babies early. And for me, the way I love children, I've worked with children over the years. I was so sure it was going to happen immediately. You know, I've heard of people waiting, and I was like, no, it can't be my portion. You know, I have to have my baby early. But it happened. First year, second year, third year, and it looks like forever, especially for someone who was so desperate to have a baby.
So I can imagine how difficult that was for you.
So were you faced by lots of pressure, internal, external pressure? Tell us about it.
Absolutely, I was. Internal pressure for myself, because I expected that would happen. And then families, they may not have said much, but things like, okay, has it happened? Okay, what's happening? And all that. And then external, I think it was more of the external. People who probably are not even part of the family, who probably think they want the baby more than you want the baby. I had colleagues, not even so much as friends at work. One comes to mind quickly, a guy whom I worked with in the same office in Shell, Port Harcourt, who actually told me and said, Lola, you're not a man, you know.
What?
You've been married for how many years now? No baby.
What?
A Nigerian woman, you should do something. And I felt so hurt. This is me wanting a baby. How am I going to make it happen? You know, and I just thought it was a general thing. That was the way most people thought. He even spoke to me. Others would probably just whisper behind their minds, you know. In church, in groups I went to, people were looking out to see the tummy protruding when nothing happened. Even at the time I was ill, people would think, oh, she's pregnant. Oh, that's why. So all of that built up.
Okay, so when you couldn't get pregnant, what did you do?
Initially, we didn't think there was an issue, because I didn't think I would have an issue. Like, we all always think there won't be a problem. You know, so my husband, just after we got married, the first few months, he always traveled out of the country because of his work. So by the time he settled in, like 3 months after we got married, so I thought, okay, now time for babies. But then I was ill. I felt ill, went to the hospital, I had pains. You know, I couldn't understand it. I did all kinds of scans and treatments. Oh, they said it was a cyst. The next thing said it was a fibroid. The next was multiple fibroids, just like that, you know. So that's when the problem started. And I probably would have taken it easy, but I went through a lot of pain. I tell people, you know, people say things like, oh, honeymoon, their honeymoon was for 1 month and all that. We really didn't have much of a honeymoon, because just as it came, just as we said, okay, let's start living together as a family, all of these challenges started, you know. So it was hospital to hospital. You go to this hospital, they tell you the scan, or this is the result, you go to the other one. In Nigeria, even before we traveled out to the country, the same thing.
Okay, so what was the breakthrough for you?
Okay, the breakthrough, it's a little, the story is a little long, but let me just paraphrase the whole thing. So they said that it was fibroid. I had to take it out. Then my husband didn't think I should take it out. Why? Because it was too sudden. Even the Shell doctors, because I actually took it to them to ask them, both of them, they said no, it was too sudden. Fibroids just don't grow so quickly, and don't take it out immediately. But I wanted it out because I was going through a lot of pains. But they gave me medication, some didn't help, you know. But anyway, bottom line was when we traveled out of the country, my husband, we got a cross posting to go to Brussels. So, and I got excited because I know that Belgium is one of the best for fertility treatments, you know. So we went there, and when we got there, the hospital, okay, fine, that was the peak of winter in February 2001. It was so cold, but then when this thing comes, I feel so hot, really warm. Like my period then, I'll get so hot. In fact, back in Nigeria, I could like have a guest at home, we're talking, my period is on, the pain is so much. I'll just say, excuse me, I'll be back shortly. Why? Because I'm feeling faint. I'll just go into the bathroom, pour some water on myself, refresh myself, come back and just, you know, go on. So people didn't know what I was going through. So we got to Brussels, and in February, it was so bad. I'll tell my husband, pour water on me, just pour water. I say, Lola, it's freezing cold. I'm like, pour it, don't let me die, please, I'm hot, I'm burning, you know. So he would pour water on me. So immediately we went to the hospital, and they said, wow, it was major. They said the fibroid was so big that how come I kept it this long? And then I used to have this terrible back pain. Apparently it was pressing against my spine. So I couldn't sit properly. They would always put a pillow behind me and all that. So they said it was pressing against the spine. So that they had to do a surgery immediately. So I was scheduled for surgery the next week, just after we arrived.
So were the fibroids responsible for your inability to get pregnant?
Yes, at that time, that was the main thing. Other complications came afterwards.
What were tell us about your complications.
Yes. After the fibroid was taken out, we were so shocked that this was fine. They took a lot of blood samples from me, from my husband, and this is a big hospital. I mean, we had insurance, so we weren't looking for any quack hospital. We went for the best. So they did everything. I said, look, we're both fine. We should wait until after 6 months. We'll try to have a baby. You know, we're excited. It was like, oh, a ray of hope. And then before the 6 months finished, I had pains again. And the ambulance took me to the hospital. And then they had to do a laparoscopy. That's through the navel, to look in to see what was happening. And when I was coming to, after the medication was wearing off, after the surgery, the doctor actually said, in his words, the Dutch doctor said, I was just unlucky, that he didn't understand. Surgery went well, but both my tubes, my fallopian tubes, were blocked now, and that all my organs had healed together. It's called adhesion, kidney, liver, bladder, everything.
Wow.
And that they could even try to open the tubes, but then the hairs will not be there, and there was no guarantee of having a baby. So in fact, I was certified barren. You know, if it was Nigeria, so they don't know what they're doing, let's go abroad. But this was abroad, and the best of the best. And
so you're telling me that there was no solution? They didn't have a solution?
Yes, until when two people I knew in Brussels, one is a Nigerian, the other one, Polish lady, Marguerite. After 8 years, they both had babies, and they told me, I heard it was in vitro fertilization, IVF. So I got excited. I told my husband, I said, look, let's go. You never know. Because I believe that for it to even happen, God has to make it happen. Because a lot of people try IVF and it doesn't work, and you spend so much money. So after much, he said, fine, let's go. But I didn't want to go to the private hospital in Brussels. I wanted the teaching hospital with all many doctors and everything. So we did. We went there, and we got to this doctor. I can't remember the names now, but if I came to all my files, they're there. Nice doctor. They took me through this very big machine, MRI, to check what was happening in my system. And when we came out, the doctor had the diagram, a picture, a calendar or something like, no, any one of these medical diagrams, frames on his table. And he showed me that this is the body of a woman and this is the womb. And for the womb, you need a thick lining. He showed me what it was, and that I didn't even have any lining at all, you know. And then we actually went there to talk about the chances of IVF working. And he said for IVF to even work, that it wasn't even in my favor because of my age, that if I was in my 20s, I had a better chance. And now it's about 31, 32, you know, so that my chances weren't good at all. So he said, okay, we should go and think about it, that we'll take injections. It may not work.
How did hearing that make you feel?
It was devastating because
I can imagine.
I went there looking for hope. These are two people I knew. They were pregnant. They were going to have the baby soon, you know, and they did IVF. And now I'm being told that
you didn't even have the hope of,
you know, so everything was working against me, really. The fibroid surgery that we thought, oh, this was it, led to something else. The tubes were blocked. Everything was wrong. All the organs joined together. It wasn't funny at all. Even my husband. And when they even talked about the IVF, I actually told my husband, when we talked about it on our way home, he just said, look, don't think it's the money, because now, really, it wasn't a case of money. But I was thinking, from what this man has said, will it discourage him? I still wanted us to try. But my husband said, look, let's be patient. I know you want to do this, I know you want to do that, but from what he said, let's take our time.
So did you try the IVF or you waited?
No, I didn't. And somebody else recommended, an American couple, family that we knew, recommended another doctor to us. That people from all over the world came to this doctor. He is good. It was a case of going to that doctor, and if he can't do it, only God will help you.
And where did you find this doctor?
There, we went. We actually went
Brussels.
outside Brussels. We said, where did we go now? Yeah, but outside, yeah.
Okay.
We went to him. He saw the report. He checked me. And he said it was really bad.
Wow.
He didn't even give us any hope. It was as if everything in my system was just mangled up.
Wow.
Everything was bad. So nobody seemed to tell us, okay, this was the way forward or anything. So
it was confirmed that you were
barren, infertile.
Wow. Infertile.
Yes. It was really, I was infertile. That's the word.
Okay, so let's move on to the testimony, because now you're a mother of 3 children. How long did it take for you from the time when you were told that you were barren to the point you had your son? How long was that?
Almost 2 years.
So what did you do throughout those 2 years?
Okay, the 2 years, what did I do? One, I had to trust God because I knew there was no other way. If the doctor said they couldn't do anything, and the IVF, the chances were not looking so good, really, I held on to God's word that said none will be barren, because there was nothing else I could do. I had to trust him, you know. So, and what else happened was I relaxed, because I knew I had a lot of anxiety before then. It had to happen this month or anytime. I tell myself, it doesn't matter, I'm fine. But you know, we're women. When the month is coming, that period of the month again, I'm hoping I'm not bleeding. And then I'm like, oh my God, I cry. You know, but this time I relaxed. I said, look, when it will happen, you know. And then another thing I did was, I tried to eat right, you know, but I think I relaxed. And I just had faith in God.
Basically, pretty much relaxed.
Yes, I had to, because, I don't know, nothing else really that I could have done. And then when it now happened, actually, word of knowledge came. You know, people just said, look, God has answered my prayers. 2 or 3 people said, God, people who didn't even know what we're going through, you know. So for me, I knew that, yes, my time had come. And then it was hard, sincerely. Even when it happened, I was still a bit skeptical, because I didn't think it had happened. You know, even after we're told, I trusted, I believed God, yes. But then I would say, oh, maybe the period is coming.
Okay, so you've been waiting so long to have a child, and then you finally found out that you were pregnant, but you still didn't believe that you were pregnant.
Okay, maybe, okay, let me explain. Okay, yeah, I did, but okay, let me say, when I missed my period, so to say, I know that I used to mark the calendar months before then because it never went beyond 30 days, 26 to 30 days for me. So at this time, I didn't say anything. I told myself, let me check the calendar. And I checked. I'd stopped marking. I actually got tired. So I went months back, calculated, like a week or some days over. Is this possible? I said, okay, let me keep quiet about this now because I was tempted to tell my husband. I said, what if I tell him and period comes tomorrow? So what I did, I was going to lie, was I better tell him now. So I woke him up. I said, I think God has done it. He said, God has done it. I said, I think I'm pregnant. He said, oh, Lola. I said, I'm serious. My period never goes beyond 30 days. He said, okay, okay. He didn't believe me, man of faith. He didn't believe it.
It sounded too good to be true.
Yeah, it sounded too good to be true. So we slept. So I tried to look, let's lay hands on this tummy and pray on it, you know. And that was all we did. But, you know, the next few days, I feel some kind of, you know, like maybe your cramps or period. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I didn't tell this man. But it never happened. Until about a month later, I had slight bleeding. I was agitated. I called him, wake up, we're going to the hospital now. I can't take this. Like, relax, we're going. So we drove all the way. Up until now, believe me, I actually knew I had to be pregnant because my period had never stayed that long. But he was not sure. How do I know he wasn't sure? We got to the hospital. I told him, look, I was pregnant and I was spotting. They said, madam, how do you know you're pregnant? Have you done the test? I said, no, but I know I am because my period never goes beyond that. And they said, look, we need to be sure before we do anything. They did a test and they came back. I think I still have the thing they used for the test. And they said, congratulations, you're pregnant. Awesome. That was when my husband believed, oh my gosh, she's pregnant, you know. I knew I had to be. So for me, that was the best news ever.
Yeah.
And when they did the ultrasound and they saw the heartbeat of the baby, it was like, wow, this was it.
So when you were certified pregnant, was it at the same hospital? Was it the same doctors who told you that you could not get pregnant that certified you pregnant?
It was the same hospital.
The same hospital.
But not that doctor, no.
Okay.
I fell into the hands of the gynae.
Okay.
The head of gynae, sorry.
Who was
one of the gynaes.
And they had your history.
He had my history.
And so what did they say?
And they said it was impossible. That with my history, I couldn't get pregnant naturally. That's what they said.
This only had to be God.
Yes, had to be God.
It just had to be God.
They actually said it. Because everything was bad. Everything was working against me. So they said it was impossible. It's not like we did anything. We didn't take any medication, you know. So that was how it happened. And then that wasn't the end of the challenge. Pregnancy was going well. So close monitoring was going on. And about the 5th to the 6th month, the doctors said they were concerned about the baby. Why? They said that this baby is not looking normal. That the head, something is not right. They called it some big names. I went online and man, I cried. It was a bad condition. I can't remember, the name is so big that maybe even if I hear it, I can't remember. But all the documents at home, you know. And then what the doctor said was, at the time they kept calling, every time we went, they would do ultrasound. And reading through books, I always said, I wasn't going to do this amniocentesis where they have to take out fluid and all that. But I had to. They had to take out fluid to check out the baby, the genes, what is not right. Something is not right about this baby.
Were they able, were they able to tell you precisely what was wrong?
Yes. And what the doctor said, he sat down. I remember this is the doctor, the head of gynae, this is me, and my husband sat here. And he said, look, that this was a really bad case. That if it was a white woman who had this pregnancy, they would terminate it. And he asked, are you ready to terminate this pregnancy? And we both said no. So you can imagine my heartbreak.
Wow.
Having waited, now the baby has come. Now I'm asked to terminate that same child. We said no. He said because it was really bad. He said something about water in the brain. That's just one of the things. What's it called now? Hydrocephalus, or they call it cephalus or cephalus. There's the Dutch way of saying it and there's the English way. Hydrocephalus, hydrocephalus, either way, you know. So that they used for that. And then there were other conditions, some very big names, like I said. So it was really bad, but we decided, we said no.
So you took your chance. You've waited for this baby for so long, and now you're pregnant.
Yes.
And then the doctor tells you 6 months into the pregnancy that there was a problem with the baby.
A major problem.
A major problem. And hydrocephalus, like you said, it was.
One of them.
Yes. What did they tell you what impact that would have on the child if the child was born?
Thank you. Yes. They said the child might be a vegetable, child might be blind, deaf, not be able to coordinate. Everything was wrong. Handicapped child, more or less. So there was nothing good to come from that pregnancy.
Wow.
You know, so
wow.
we just said...
This must have been devastating for you.
Have no
I
idea.
can feel it. I can just hear the story. I mean, I can feel how devastating this must have been for you.
It was.
So you took your chance.
Yes.
And you kept the baby.
Yes, we did.
And then what happened when the baby was born?
Okay. And one thing we held on to, my husband and I, the Bible verse that says, every good and perfect gift comes from God. That the blessing of the Lord, the maketh which he has no sorrow. That was what I held on. I said, God, am I going back home with a handicapped child? What's my testimony? I'm going back to Nigeria. Now people are rejoicing, oh, she's pregnant, and then suddenly, you know. But I thank God, okay, he came as a premature baby. Was it about the 25th or the 26th week?
That's really early.
Yeah, that was early. He was to come in December, but he came in November. You know, early November. So when he came, he was put in the incubator in the ICU.
Okay.
Babies. So they had all kinds of gadgets around him, big machines. He couldn't even breastfeed. He had to feed through the nose. It was fragile, a little baby. Of course, we did CS because it was planned CS because of the fibroid and everything. So it was really small. I remember my husband would come. We read all the books about premature babies. He would put him against his skin, cover him. And then I had another critical case. I was down. I was ill. That's another story on its own, you know. But anyway, they kept doing all kinds of things, testing his hearing, testing his eyes, you know, until he was getting better. They really didn't do... It's just God, sincerely.
Okay, so after he was born, and were you looking forward to all the problems that the doctor said he was going to have?
No,
were you worried at any point about him meeting any of his milestones, developmental milestones?
That was it. Okay. Because this is me. I did a course on childcare.
Okay.
With a college in Cambridge. This is. I told you I love children. Yeah. So I actually did that. So I had books I had bought. I still have them now for my course, right? On milestones and everything for children. At this, what do you expect when they're 1 month, 6 months, 3 months, and everything. So I used to use that to measure my baby. So now he's growing. We came out of admission. He went home. Then they still had the nurse coming home to check on him all the time. We had doctor's appointments. We had plans to meet with neurosurgeon. They had to keep checking to see how he's doing. And then I noticed, of course, he was slow. He didn't meet the milestones early. Like when most babies were sitting down with their necks on, my baby's neck would be like this, you know. We had to use something to hold him up. Even on his birthday, fast forwarding out to his first birthday, he loved Winnie the Pooh. You know, so we had this Winnie the Pooh cake. I should have brought a picture for you, you know. And then when it was time for the cameraman to take the picture, he wasn't standing, talking of walking when he was 1, you know. We just laid him against the cake. Take the picture, yay! You know? So I have to take it and say yes. So when you see the picture, I think he was standing, you know. When it's now crawling at that time. So we used
to start crawling at 1.
Yeah, no, is that maybe 1 or 2 months before that one.
Okay,
but at the age of 1, he was still crawling. He wasn't even standing yet. We were still trying to stand. When he stands for a few seconds, yay! You know, we're happy. You know, but just kept trusting because one, we did our best. I breastfed him exclusive for 6 months. Even they encouraged it. We gave the best of food, everything we could. My husband didn't hold back, the best of everything. We got him, you know, prayers and everything. We just went on until, and they were going for, what's it called, physiotherapy?
Yeah.
For his legs and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, then we have moved from Brussels to Paris. Because physiotherapy, he was 1 now. We're in Paris then. It was just on our street. So we go there like twice a week. The physiotherapist, they even taught me things to do. So was it on the 13th month? One day we came back from the physiotherapist. Well, went shopping. As I brought him down from his posture, my son with his jacket and all his cap and everything, he stood.
Oh,
he took one or two. I was like, you know? So that's been, it was a thing of like, wow.
You must have felt like you won a jackpot that day.
Because I actually won a jackpot.
Yeah.
Everything was, even the doctor said it was impossible. Even they were amazed. You know, that this child, we thought nothing would come out of it. And he became so intelligent.
Awesome.
You know, and for me, I would like to send a warning to people out there. Yes, your faith matters, but be careful. Really, doctors are amazing. I will tell you. I mean, during the fibroid, the surgeries I've had, doctors have been amazing. But doctors, there's only so much they can do, right? I think we need to trust God in everything we do. Why? Because I even have a sister-in-law who actually, they took out the baby because the doctor said the baby had a hole in the heart. And in England, only to find out after the baby was born, after the baby was taken out, there was no hole in the heart.
Oh, no.
You know, so,
no.
I mean, imagine me having to terminate my son, you know? I mean, what would have been my joy? And he's a perfect child. He's excellent, he's doing well in school, he's a good boy, you know? And then after him, in fact, that was like the major battle we had to fight, because when the sisters came, it was just like a walk in the park.
So after David is your son's name. You've gone on to have two more children.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so David is how old today?
David is 14, going on 15.
And is a 6 foot.
6 foot, even he has lost count. Probably 6'7", 6'7".
He's an amazing boy.
Yes,
and then he recently he was made a prefect.
Yes, in school.
Prefect of what was he given?
Library prefect.
A library
my children
prefect.
We're big readers in my house. We love books.
Yes.
Yes.
This was a David that they said
won't be able
to see, he won't be able to do, he won't be able to work or coordinate. He has gone on to be.
He might be on the wheelchair. But this is the
so he has gone up. So after the 1 year, he went on to meet other milestones, and he's doing very well today.
Well. Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm so happy that your story ended well, and that you took your chance. You took your chances against all odds, and it has worked very well for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. I hope that the last story has inspired hope in some of you who are looking up to God to conceive. Do not give up. Just keep hoping. But one thing you need to do is you need to relax. You need to take it easy. Don't give in to external and internal pressure, because your miracle might just be on the way. Thank you for watching. Till we'll meet next time. My name is Paula, and this is Family World with Paula. Bye. If you enjoyed our show, find us and connect with us on social media. We would love to hear from you. Our social media handles are on your screen.